Welcome to this edition of Hindsight is Horrifying, the show where three mostly normal and somewhat cynical adults discuss life as members of the TV generation. Now here are your hosts, Darth Jada, Jason Mitchell, and Adam B.
She's here.
Oh. What?
She was taking notes.
I was dreaming.
Are you dreaming? And this is what you have to wake up to? That's terrible. Also, make sure your mic is in front of your mouth.
I guess I can do that.
Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another thrill-packed, exciting, much delayed episode of Hindsight is Horrifying.
Thanks to Darth's drug abuse, I'm so sorry, Hindsighters. Heroin's a hell of a drug. What can I say?
Yeah, she does like the heroin.
I was on a bender for the last 2 weeks, and worth it. That's all I have to say.
Well, I'm proud you're able to admit it because denial ain't just a river in Egypt.
No, and acceptance is the first step.
God.
Step one.
Step
the
one.
12-step, 13, 18.
I don't know. I never made it past 2, so.
A bender honestly would have been better than what actually happened to me. So let's just move on.
Thoughts and prayers.
Thank you, Anthony Jeselnik.
Yes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hindsight is Horrifying. We are, again, having a public domain night. Yes, we get to watch a bad movie along with you because the movie we're watching is in the public domain. I don't know why it's in the public domain. Darth tells me that she knows what's in the public domain.
In fact, know exactly why this
well,
movie.
Let's go ahead and roll it.
Yeah,
and
let's get this baby going.
And get the audience.
Oh, 1
into
hour.
things.
What it is.
1 hour and 39 minutes of it.
Yeah, and there
Sandy.
we go.
Sandy Howard Productions presents.
We are doing the Rock Hudson 1976. I'm not going to say classic because it isn't.
On a year.
It's bicentennial, baby.
Yeah.
It's our bicentennial celebration.
Yeah.
The movie Embryo.
Some of us remember that.
Yes.
Well,
Right out of the gate.
Wow.
I'm coming out swinging.
Anyway, yes. So, Darth, why don't you tell us what is the movie Embryo? Starring Anne Schecht and John Elliott.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have me checking on the copyright status. Here's the synopsis. Jesus, Jason. You just got me jumping all over the place. Anyway, Embryo is, as you said, a 1976 science fiction horror film directed by Ralph Nelson.
I feel like it's neither of those things.
Starring... Well, okay, I've got two different synopses, so and they're pretty different, so I'll read them both. They're both pretty short.
Yeah,
so from
battling synopses.
So from Encyclopedia.fandom, the 76 science fiction horror film directed by Ralph Nelson, starring Rock Hudson alongside Barbara Carrera, with a cameo appearance by Roddy McDowall. It deals with the mental and physical consequences of growing a human embryo in an artificial uterus.
I don't think so. I don't think that's... that sounds like a Lifetime movie.
The plot is like 3 pages long, so it gets into that. But the other synopsis that I found on IMDb was a scientist, Rock Hudson, doing experiments on a human fetus, discovers a method to accelerate the fetus into a mature adult in just a few days. All is not well, though, as the child begins to exhibit some horrific tendencies.
Which, again, not really accurate. It's a movie about a guy who he's a very sort of...
He's an experimental geneticist.
Is he?
Sort of.
Yeah, is he? Yeah. He's a doctor.
In context of the film,
He's a doctor. He's a doctor.
Who runs over dogs in the middle of a rainstorm.
In a Cadillac.
I was so pissed. Yeah, you're pissed about the Cadillac. I'm pissed about the dog.
I know.
So that's the beginning of the movie, Hindsighters. Unfortunately, Rock Hudson is driving in the middle of the night. It's storming, raining, and a Doberman runs out in the middle of the street, and he smacks her with his car.
Yes.
And ruptures her spleen. So he immediately takes her to his lab at home, like you do.
Okay, and that brings up a very, very important point, which is this is basically a movie that is, if you took a Roger Corman or one of any of 1,000... 50s or 60s black and white crappy low budget horror movies, this would be it. It's just they did that and they tried to make it, like a real movie.
There's always some
well, they always have a home lab.
Doctor type with a home lab.
Yeah, they always have a lab in their house. Go look at the Incredible Two-Headed Transplant. What does he have? A lab in his house.
Never seen that movie.
No,
Rosie Greer.
I've
seen it.
You've seen it?
In a drive-in theater.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, but so it's basically like a 1950s horror movie.
But isn't it kind of based loosely on a Mary Shelley book?
Is it?
Didn't you get a sense of like a
Victor Frankenstein?
Frankenstein, you know, he
Frankenstein's
creates
monster?
this thing and it turns on him and
No, she doesn't turn on him ever. It's because the whole thing with Frankenstein is that he wanted to create life, and that I think that's where the similarities stop.
okay.
Because Rock Hudson's justification to his son Gordon, who shares a name with your critter, Gordon.
Oh, his name is Gordon?
I think his
didn't
name is
even-
Gordon. I'll have to look at it, but
I don't remember. The son's performance was so forgettable that
yeah, John Elric as Gordon
Okay,
Holliston.
Gordon.
So anyway, Gordon, but yeah, he was sort of forgettable, sort of like the son-in-law from Death Wish with Charlie Bronson.
yeah,
But yeah,
he had that going for him. Would you tilt your mic, just loosen it right here, and just tilt it up a little bit so you're kind of talking over it. Let's see how long it takes her to figure out which way to turn it.
bite me, Jason. Is this better?
How
Yeah,
am I
it's better.
doing, director?
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, you're right in line. Right in line.
I love
Oh,
being
you're
the-
such
the-
an A
the
student.
star pupil. I'm bringing
You
an
little-
apple next time.
You little band nerd.
Now, I do want to point out that he not only has his own lab at his house, but it's really cool.
It's elaborate.
It is
Yeah, it's got
serious.
like this cool like Bond villain like lighting in it.
And everything's covered with tarps and sheets and stuff.
Yeah.
He's got all this mysterious.
And he wears his tie when he's working.
Well, of
It's
course,
very impressive.
he was hey, he was a man's man.
He was a professional.
Yes.
Well, I mean, don't most men, when they're working around blood or they're eating something messy, don't they tuck their tie into their shirt?
I've never
Haven't worked
I've
with something bloody, messy, or worn a tie
Yeah.
recently.
while wearing a tie. No, I haven't. I can't think of a time.
Now, by the way, his sister-in-law is Diane Ladd. Why
Yes.
do I know her so much? But
Well,
I-
she's Laura Dern's mom,
that's it.
wife
Okay.
of.
Is she serious?
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wife of Bruce Dern.
Oh,
All
I
right.
did not
Yeah.
know that.
I knew.
Okay.
I knew there had to be.
Got it.
Well, she was in Christmas Vacation.
Yes.
She's been in like
Who was she? Oh,
Diane
was she one of the
Ladd,
grandmas?
the
in
one with
Christmas
the big
Vacation?
glasses.
Oh, I'll give you a quarter if you rub my bunion. That one.
Crap. She was one of the Griswold.
Yeah, he was Clark's mom. Like,
yeah, it was Clark's mom.
That where
yeah,
she's
yeah.
like, I've got a quarter for you too, Audrey. Like, you
Yeah,
know, if
yeah.
you rub my feet or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, she's a good, she really good actress.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
know.
Yeah.
She's very marmy in this particular film, and there's a unique kind of relationship going on with her and Rock Hudson. So she's his sister-in-law / lab assistant, and they live together.
Because
And you come to find that Nicole, Rock Hudson's wife, was killed in a car crash. Either years or months prior. They don't give you much of a timeline, but they definitely mention that. But he's living with his sister-in-law long after the fact.
yeah, it's
Platonically.
yeah.
Oddly enough.
Well, see, I'm not so sure about that. I got a vibe between these two, especially when Victoria came along. So we can get to that.
Yeah,
Jealousy?
we'll get
to
into
that.
that.
All right.
The crux of the story involves the fact that this is a doctor who is working to keep a fetus alive.
Using placental lactogen.
Yeah, outside of the mother, so that if a mom dies, the baby can be saved, or
Right.
if there's just something wrong with the baby, they can take the baby out and they can treat it.
But
And
the
he-
caveat to that seems to be that there still needs to be some sort of life support from the mother, because that's where things
Right.
go wildly wrong with the human as opposed to the dog.
Right. Yeah. So he has a technology that
He can
also,
rebuild her.
Yeah. Well, he not only can keep the fetus alive, he can accelerate its growth,
Yes.
and
Right.
he does this to a dog, and it works marvelously.
Yes.
Well,
Because,
Well,
so
you know.
he runs over a poor pregnant Doberman. He thinks he's ruptured her spleen, but then in trying to fix that issue, he discovers that she's pregnant and she's got 3 puppies. So he puts them each like in
A crock pot. Yeah.
in
Fish-
a
a
Doberman
fish
crock
tank.
pot.
Yeah, a fish tank, yeah.
Yeah.
With their little, cords still connected to them, and 2 of them perish, unfortunately.
And apparently when a dog fetus perishes, it
Oh,
just sinks to the bottom.
like a dead fish.
no.
It's so sad.
Well, it's like
But-
when a person dies, their head just moves about an inch.
Right, yeah.
Right,
Well,
yeah.
and so, clearly so much budget was put into this because the embryonic Doberman puppies are literally just there, and you know that they're alive because they're doing this.
But and they're the puppet of the well, here we can show the
There was
audience.
no Jim
yeah, there it is
Henson
right there.
level.
It's E.T.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
The oh god, no, we're gonna go away from
home.
that. The puppets for the Dobermans do look much better than the puppets for the the child fetus that like the
Yeah.
only thing that moves is like I thought I saw like a finger move, but that might
It's
have
like they're squeezing it from the
Le-
back. Almost
less
like
is
those,
more.
Almost
Yeah.
like those little
Less is
water
more.
baby dolls where you squeeze it so its tummy sort of bulges out. I don't know. It just,
I don't know.
Whatever. But so
I had to look away at this point. I just don't like the operations on beautiful animals like that.
yeah.
Hurts me.
And of course, I was just like, yeah, Jason naturally had to pick a damn movie where the dog dies right out of the gate. And it's
But
sad.
you at least feel good because the dog, the actor who playing the dog, stays in the movie.
Yeah, she
So
does
that's,
because
you
they
know,
couldn't, the
yeah.
puppies don't actually accelerate that quickly in real life.
She-
Hindsighters, just so you know.
I was the whole time I was watching this, I just kept imagining the dog
Reading the script.
Yeah,
like,
and like
Oh.
yeah. Well, I just kept imagining the dog making cracks about its agent. Like, oh, God damn it.
I bet the dog had a
Do
better
that-
salary than Rock Hudson did.
The
in this
the dog
movie.
the dog is hands down the star of the movie.
Oh, absolutely, she is. And what's her name? This is the best part. This is such a scientific name for a dog.
Oh, number one?
Yes.
Yes, number one.
Because there were 3 pups, 2 perish, and so
Do you-
number 1 is the one that remains.
Do you know who else has a dog named number one? Captain
tell.
Picard.
Ah.
That's right.
his
He has
assistant.
He has a dog. No, he literally in the new series he has a dog and he calls him number one.
I haven't watched it, but I had heard
Oh, don't.
something to that
It's
effect.
dreadful.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I don't
but,
want to watch
yeah.
it. It sounds horrible.
Now, by the
But-
way, Gordon's wife, take a good look at her.
She she was an Alf.
That's right.
She was the mom in Alf.
She was the mom and Alf.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we'll
dear
have a good
God.
Alf to
Yeah.
Seinfeld on this one.
Ah!
I totally
Well
yeah.
played.
I completely forgot. Yeah, that is
And she,
Mrs. Tanner.
Yeah, Mrs.
Mrs. Tanner.
Well, I can't really get on board with Gordon's wife, a.k.a. Mrs. Tanner, in this movie. And I know it's the 70s, but later on, because she and Gordon are having a baby that Rock Hudson's about to become a granddad.
Having my baby. What a wonderful way to say how much. Well, it's the 70s.
Oh, my God. Anyway, derailed. So Gordon's wife is pregnant, and she's about... I guess when the movie starts, about 4 months along, because that becomes very significant later in the movie, the timeline of her pregnancy.
Ooh, yeah, I know.
But I get a little upset with her, and once again, I admit it's the 70s. They didn't know as much as they do now, but she was complaining about not being able to travel with Gordon. She said, "Oh, the doc thinks that pregnant ladies and planes don't mix," like while she's drinking sherry. And I was just like, "Yeah, okay."
Well, that's how they are still in Europe. I mean, in Europe, they tell women,
Keeps the child
Past a certain
lubricated.
point.
yeah, well, because they're like, by the time you know, it's too late to affect it. Just have a drink. Don't drink too
wow.
much.
Yeah, don't get like hammered.
By the way, we're not doctors. Don't take medical advice from us. And if you do, you're a fucking idiot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, the doc calls his son over
I
in the
don't
middle
know.
of the night to
I haven't
bring
been doing our snazzy.
Our background?
Yeah, our snazzy new
Ooh,
background.
there we
Yeah,
go. I like that.
futuristic. Ooh.
You can see all of us at once.
Yes, you can. It's so exciting.
There's
But-
nothing to look at in this.
But Rock Hudson literally calls his son over in the middle of the night and asks for some extra supplies, some dog blood and more placental
Yeah, I know.
lactogen. I need canine DNA and I need this. Like,
I was
bring this in.
imagining when Al Pal went into the convenience store in Die Hard, and he was like getting the Twinkies,
Yeah, I need all
This
of
is
it.
for my pregnant
All of it.
wife. Sure
Beep,
it is. Sure it is.
fetal lactogen, beep beep, dog blood, beep beep.
You're having a party tonight, aren't you? That's right.
It's
That's
for my
right.
wife.
Sure it is.
She's
Sure
pregnant.
is.
Uh-huh.
Little do they know.
Bag it.
But yeah, so what does the placental lactogen achieve, gentlemen?
I don't know. It keeps them from dying.
No, it causes an organism to develop at an alarming speed.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Or
okay.
die within a few hours.
A little column A, a little column B.
Because Nicole, Rock Hudson's late wife, she was a scientist as well, and they were working on this
Yes.
this kind of chemical together to see if they could experiment on how things age.
It was the 70s. That's what you did. You did some biochemistry, a line of cocaine, banged, wake up,
You
wash,
humped-
rinse, repeat, humped. Yeah,
I
humped.
will hump this rock. I will hump this tree.
We did a lot of humping in the 70s.
Oh, sorry, I just went
Yeah.
full Rick and Morty on your ass and you missed it, Mr. Brown.
Oh.
But so Rock Hudson conveniently, finds himself in a set of circumstances where the mother of the pups is going to die regardless. So he's
Yeah.
basically just using her as life support for the remaining puppy. And
Okay, see, that's one of the problems I have with the movie is that it sets it up as this sort of happenstance thing. Like, he happened to be driving, he happened to hit a dog, the dog happened to be pregnant.
Yeah.
So he comes in and he does this and it works, and then he goes, oh, great, I'll do this to a person.
Well, there's a huge...
But if he hadn't hit the dog, would he have just watched TV and gone to bed that
He
night,
might have-
and that would have been it?
No, he might have finally hooked up with Martha, his sister-in-law. Who knows? Who knows?
It's amazing how a small event in our lives can
Yeah.
just change everything.
Can spiral your entire existence.
My gosh, exactly. Yeah.
Because boy, does it ever in this movie.
Yeah,
Like, just heads
we've
up
all, we've all
insiders.
we've all been there, you know,
It
under
goes
arrest, looking at an ambulance, screaming no. you know,
Hey,
Die.
that happened to me recently.
were you screaming no?
I
And you
can't-
were in the ambulance.
I was almost unconscious.
yeah, no,
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Don't try to play it off. The movie's got yeah.
Was
It
someone trying to
wasn't-
hold
it
your face
wasn't that
underwater
thrilling.
and saying, die, die?
Yeah.
And I wasn't pregnant at the time either, so no.
No, officer, let me explain why I'm trying to kill this old woman.
It will make perfect sense to you. Just listen.
Yeah, we'll get there, patient viewers.
Yeah, so anyway, Rock Hudson is facing a time clock because the Doberman that he hit is
Is
dying.
there another kind of clock?
Cesium beam clock.
All right, why don't you
Nuclear
fucking
clock.
say something?
Time clock. No, we do. We hang on every word. We just have to throw in little jabs every now and
Oh,
then.
no, I'm done. You say something now.
Silence.
Uh-huh.
Silence.
Good
I have
luck.
nothing to say.
What's happening?
Rock Hudson is delivering a puppy, and it's doing just fine. But it's
Yes.
aging very quickly. It went from fetus to about 3 weeks old.
Because the ratio at first is a 24-hour span equals 1 month of growth.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's for a human, so it's a little
It's
bit different for the dog.
It's whatever the screenwriter came up with.
Yeah.
That was the ratio.
The science was not exactly precise in this movie. I
no.
will say that. There was a hell of a lot of literary assumption going on, and you just made up words.
Yeah. How much drug should we put in? Put enough in.
Morty, you can't just say quantum something in front of a word and make it sound sciencey. Oh, is this the quantum carburetor, Rick? Like, I don't know.
I try to envision when Rock was reading this script, and he looks. I used to be a big movie star. What do you
What
do you
the
think I'm going to do
hell
with this?
happened?
Yeah. What was the show he had for
That was
Something and Wife?
Macmillan.
Macmillan and Wife.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Macmillan
I
and
was about
Wife.
to look it up.
Yeah, he was a. Yeah, I mean, Rock Hudson was a leading man. He was very, very.
He was
you
the
know.
leading man for the longest time. And I mean, not even just like Cary Grant versus Jimmy Stewart. Like Rock Hudson was the leading man for a
and Doris Day. Rock and
Yes.
Doris.
Rock and
Yep,
Doris,
They
yeah.
were a huge, huge deal. But what was the little secret that Rock Hudson was holding, you guys?
It's not a secret anymore.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
not for,
yeah.
For some of us who don't know, the youngins out there don't know
Rock,
who Rock Hudson is.
Rock Hudson, famous leading man. He
And we're
was.
not making fun. He was
Oh,
an
no,
incredible
no.
actor.
No,
Had
absolutely
a
not.
fantastic career. Was in some
He got a
amazing
very
movies.
mysterious disease at the time.
Yeah, I was planning on making Jim Neighbors jokes, so that's gonna happen. You know,
Bring it.
anyway,
So what
rock
happened?
pile. Sorry. Anyway,
He had what
Rock
was-
Hudson was the first major celebrity to be diagnosed with and die from AIDS.
Yes.
He was gay. It was an open secret in Hollywood for many, many years.
Yeah, he had a wife for 3 years. He wound up having some children.
But the wife that was an arranged.
Yeah, it was.
It was his agent secretary.
Oh, was it?
Oh,
Now that I
really?
didn't
It was
know.
it was something like that. I might be wrong about that, but it was
Let's see.
I feel like it was an arranged something because his agent had at some point been contacted by a magazine publisher or somebody who said, "I've got dirt on Rock Hudson, your client, and I'm gonna tell the whole world that he's gay and this is the '50s, so it's gonna ruin his career." And the agent, being an agent and adhering to a high level of morals,
Of course.
came to a deal where in return for the publisher not outing Rock Hudson, the agent would give him dirt on two of the agent's other clients who weren't worth as much money to him as Rock Hudson.
Jesus, and who did one of those?
I think one of them was Sal Mineo.
Oh my God.
Poor Sal.
Sal.
I think one of them. It was Sal Mineo or Tab Hunter or one of those. It might have been Tab Hunter.
Raymond Burr, maybe.
Was Raymond Burke gay?
Very,
Oh, I didn't know that.
very. Yes. Ironsides.
Ironsides?
Right.
I liked Ironsides. That was a good movie. It was a good show.
That. I was doing
You're a
research.
little Ironside. You were in a wheelchair for a little
Oh,
bit.
screw you.
I wanted to call her Ironsides.
There's a niche.
You know what I always thought was cool about that show was that it was.
Yes, I was wheelchair ridden there
Yes, you
for
were.
a while. Thank you.
Ironsides was cool because it was it was filmed in the 70s.
Yes.
And so obviously you can't say the F word.
No.
So they just said flaming,
Cling, cling,
but they
cling, cling.
very obviously they peppered it throughout the dialogue and it was obvious.
That mother flamer?
Yeah. I mean, it was like literally it was very obvious to the audience. Okay, guys, when you hear us say this in your head, just replace it with fuck.
Got it. Okay.
And I was like, it's pretty,
works. Yeah,
pretty
that's
edgy
good.
for the time. But
Okay, so I don't know that she was that Gates was a secretary to Rock Hudson's agent. It says they met in '54. They started dating sometime later when then they were married in Santa Barbara in 1955. After he was done filming Giant, they had a honeymoon in Jamaica. Their marriage began to disintegrate afterwards, separated in '57, following rumors that Hudson had committed adultery while on location in Italy for the film of A Farewell to Arms.
so that's interesting because that's different than what I heard. I heard that it was like mental cruelty.
The rumors were later confirmed by a close friend of Gates's who also revealed to her that the individual Hudson had the affair with was a man. The divorce was
Well,
eventually finalized
You
in
know those Italian
1958.
men? Very sexy. Always sexy.
Yeah, you do like to think that there's this, place in heaven where Anthony Perkins and Rock Hudson and Jim Neighbors and they're all just getting it on now. Because it must have sucked to be a part of a
Not being able to come to work your full self. That's gotta be tough.
just going every day. Just especially because if these were doctors, well, when you go to work as a doctor, at no point do you, as part of your job, have to make out with your female coworker
Right.
and make it look real.
Yeah.
But they have to. I mean, in this movie, he very creepily bangs a woman.
That
Then
he
he-
creates
Very,
I know.
very creepily.
and utterly breaks the rule about, my personal rule about age differences. Considering
Well,
the fact that
she's like a week old. Yeah.
She's not only is she a week old, he's known her since and has seen her since she was a fetus. Like, can remember her in that shape and form. Remember her as
watched her as a baby.
watched her develop as a
Oh,
baby
yeah.
and then bangs her.
Sorry, audience members, if you think that you just saw a dog
Open a door.
open a door, this
And I knew
Totally
something. I knew there was something bad was going to happen to this little squeaker.
He's-
let me ask you
He's
this
in a
though.
sweater. What else do you think is going to happen?
But
to
let
this
me
dog?
let me ask you this.
This is
it-
the least aggressive behavior I've ever seen in a Doberman.
Oh yeah,
He's
no,
just
that's like the sweetest
"Hi."
dog
Well,
ever.
he's just back off, or I'm going to shake you to death. And the dog would not back off. So then,
It's a chew toy. Oh, it's a chew toy.
and then of course, naturally buries it.
My God, what have I
Yeah,
done?
number
What have I
one,
done?
yes.
Mammy, I killed again, Mammy. Oh no.
Did you hide the body, number one? That's
And
a
then
good girl.
he reaches out close.
You just keep your mouth shut now. Not a lick of blood
I
on
was
her
waiting for
jaws
the
either.
owner to come out and say, "How did this happen?" And the dog like scooched down in the car. Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say though is because the whole point of that scene was to sort of foreshadow the idea that
Right.
okay, well, this actually makes evil things. Wahaha. And I will
The
admit,
placental lactogen, yeah.
yeah, but here's the thing though. I mean, a Doberman attacking a smaller dog isn't really out of character for a Doberman.
It's
Especially
not
one
in
that wouldn't
character
keep
for-
its mouth shut.
Yeah, and also if that one scene was taken out of the movie, would you even think that the Doberman was evil?
No.
That's it.
No, you would just think that she's super smart because
Yeah.
later on when Rock Hudson, what's his name, Paul,
Paul.
when he develops the female human embryo, Victoria,
Hi, Paul.
number one is kind of like Victoria's nanny in a lot of ways. Number one sort of covers her tracks and protects her from everything.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
for instance, when Victoria
Almost
first
in a
starts,
sweet way.
Yeah, when Victoria starts wandering about the house, like, and Paul acknowledges this from the jump. He apologizes to Victoria because he's just like, oh, I've robbed you of your childhood, of your adolescence, of your ability to grow and wonder and learn in a natural fashion.
Now
And,
let's bang.
yeah, exactly. God, and so. it's so many mixed signals, Hindsighters, just so many.
Professor, I want to learn.
offensive to
Yes,
Dark.
I wrote that down. That was
I want to
abbreviation.
learn,
We're-
Professor.
We're not there yet. So he's got this sort of moral code where if we had any super religious people in the studio now, I guess the argument could get kind of heated whether you're pro-choice, pro-life, whatever, because
Or
there's
pro-sex.
Dr. Willem Dafoe.
I know. Oh, I was just thinking that. I was like,
Yeah.
I know it's Willem
Well, you
Dafoe.
know, you recognize that actor, right, from The Incredible Hulk.
Well, yeah.
He's always chasing
He's
Bill Bixby.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun,
Bill
dun.
Bixby, yeah.
Oh wait, my favorite characters.
The ambulance.
Yeah, but specifically, it's Snyder Ambulance.
Oh my god.
And Snyder Ambulance provides 100% of the ambulance services in this movie, except in the last scene, when the actual real guys show up to take care of,
Right.
everything else. It's the Snyder van. We do ambulances, and we also do plumbing repair.
And we deliver pizzas.
Yeah, whatever you need, we got. Come on.
We have. It's actually Kyle's new service since he failed as a
Kyle.
contractor. He
Kyle Snyder.
couldn't build a wall, couldn't do security.
Well, no,
couldn't do
Kyle's
anything.
last name isn't Snyder. This actually his cousin by marriage is a Snyder, and he got him the job.
Oh, that makes
Oh,
so much
yeah.
sense. He got too many bad.
Turn the
Yelp
lights on,
reviews.
you idiot.
No,
I
him
like a dark lab.
Doing
Yeah.
science in the dark.
So that is weird, isn't it?
It's very weird.
But back
He's
to,
not a great doctor.
But Paul Holliston's code, Rock Hudson's code, is that he will only experiment on fetuses or embryos that are less than 6 months old.
Yeah,
They have to be between. It's a very short window, so like between 5 and 6 months in their development stage. And it's like you said, it's all happenstance, Jason, because the mother has to be dying. Like it basically has to be a hopeless case where the mother had no chance of having a life with the baby. Like one or both of them was going to die.
It's got to be something that's perfectly done by the screenwriter,
Yes.
so as to create conflict and obstacles.
Yes,
you
and
know.
of course, so Rock Hudson has this contact at the local hospital where he's like, "These are the set of circumstances I need. Unless it checks every box, I don't want the embryo."
Right.
And he's like,
And the
"You know
doctor-
how many laws I'm breaking helping
Well,
you with
yeah,
this fucking experiment?"
it's worse than that though, because he's like, no. All right.
All right, why not? Well, and here's the key difference here is that we do see it was a big deal, and it was noted in all of
Oscilloscope.
Oh, what a lucky man he was.
I don't compromise my principles unless asked to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Dr. Hollistein does note the fact that the Doberman mom actually was able to provide, life support for number one.
Right.
And in this plot from encyclopedia.fandom.com, I come to find I didn't realize this because I couldn't put on subtitles for this movie, and especially with Victoria's inexplicable accent, like I had a hard time following.
She has
lot
a
of the
genetic
dialogue.
Nicaraguan accent.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess so.
she's in Nicaragua.
She's
Yeah.
raised by Rock Hudson, who speaks clear English with zero accent, and yet she has the most bizarre, incomprehensible accent.
I know,
because
because she is.
Now that's a real baby, right?
That's an absolutely real baby.
Yeah.
What parent?
I know.
I
what
just thought
parent
about
would
that.
allow- yeah.
That
Some
baby's
frigid stage
probably
mother.
less than a month old, maybe
Yeah.
maybe a month and a half.
Yeah, some frigid stage mom.
The one of the producers just had a grandkid. And,
Yeah, it could be.
No.
Yeah, let's put it in an ambulette.
yeah. Hey, you sound guy, you want a career? Bring your baby.
But the problem here is that the baby that he develops with the placental lactogen, the mother is completely disconnected from the baby. So she was never able to provide any sort of
Right.
extra life support the way that the Doberman was able to do for number one. So number one, even though she has violent tendencies, she has the violent tendencies once, and then she's sort of aggressive toward the sister-in-law, but never
But again,
does
it's
anything
sort
to
of
her.
just like it's a Doberman, so at no point did it behave in a way that was really unusual.
It didn't go out of its way to attack
Yeah.
anything. So
I mean, in the smartness, it was unusual, but the
oh,
aggressive,
yeah.
the
She carries
aggressiveness.
groceries. She opens doors.
Oh, yeah.
She's like a velociraptor.
Yeah, she's got a
awesome.
stock portfolio. You know, she's got a whole plan for stopping inflation, but Carter just won't listen.
Hey, whip inflation
know,
now, okay?
exactly.
That's what
When?
number one came up with that,
Yeah, exactly.
and Carter was just like, "Hey, man, life's still groovy."
By the
But-
way, I've got some ideas for the Berlin problem, but
a German dog of all things.
We've just lost our audience, Ken.
Oh,
Who's Carter? What are they talking about?
Yeah. I mean, we're
Read a
talking about
book.
Rock Hudson. Jeez, we're talking about a movie from '76.
Hey, our audience is hip. They're with it. They're
Yeah,
groovy.
that's true.
They're hip. They're
I'm hip. I'm groovy. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Paul is developing this fetus, and he
a young Mick Jagger.
sure.
Look, duct tape.
I
Good for
know.
everything.
So scientific.
Yes.
It's scientist duct tape, like super glue of the South, you know.
Let me just get this in there.
But there are two different what is it? There are two different chemicals that he uses. There's the placental lactogen, and then there's all
Backcitration?
that speeds that speeds the embryo's growth. But then what's the other one? I think you just said it.
Anison.
But he does
No,
a razor and a
God.
cloud of cigarette smoke,
Yeah,
which is always important, too.
Well,
And
no,
then he
it was
laughs.
It was the
70s.
70s. What a grand time.
Methotrexate.
Methotrexate.
That's the one.
that-
Very
but
addictive.
But that achieves the opposite goal. So, because Victoria, as she ages, so she ages within like a week, like you guys said, she's a 25-year-old woman, and very
She's
beautiful.
doable. In how long? A week?
About
Jeez.
she's doable.
Hey, if they sit on a
No.
curb and their feet touch the ground, they're
Oh.
old enough for me. That's what we used to say in the Navy.
I'm gonna undo my port beating the hell out of you tonight. I'm just so you know.
I'll be
But
quiet.
yeah, so
The views expressed by
methotrexate-
Mr. Brown do not represent the views of the broadcast.
Precisely. Can we get that? Just along the bottom of the screen? Jesus, we need some sort of warning.
And I
him.
was feeling bad about making jokes about Rock Hudson and Jim Neighbors.
Don't feel
Yeah.
bad about anything here.
Don't cry for them, Argentina.
Yeah.
But
Which, if you ever hear the rumor that they got married, it's false. They did not get married.
They were just
okay.
very close friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they.
They went home for Christmas a lot together. And
No, it was apparently a bunch of the sort of Hollywood queens were having, and they had like an annual sort of party, and there was an invitation that said, "Come witness the marriage of Rock Hudson and Jim Neighbors," where Rock Hudson was going to take the last name of Jim Neighbors' famous character, Gomer Pyle, so he would be Rock Pyle.
Oh dear God! Citizens
Oh,
arrest!
they
Citizens
were-
arrest!
Very funny people.
But
back then.
apparently, when it came out, Jim Neighbors and Rock Hudson like never spoke again, and they were like good buddies. So
Hey,
Oh,
there you
that's
go.
sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the methotrexate or whatever, I've lost track of it within the article, that actually staves off the deterioration of the cells. So
but it's
Where-
highly addictive.
It is
Yeah,
very addictive.
exactly. So that's the since Victoria is rapidly aging, and the one big difference between her and number one is that she didn't have the mother's nourishment or life support, so she's actually deteriorating more quickly than the
Yeah.
dog is. And she's not as normal as the dog. Like number one sort of peaks at a certain level, and she's perfectly healthy. And Rock Hudson just passes her off as the dog that he hit,
Right.
since she developed so quickly. And he's like, oh, and because he was calling her mom Little Mother over and
Yeah.
over again, but he names her number one.
Well, that I think is sort of the big flaw or in Rock Hudson's thinking, because he saves the embryo of the dog, he injects it with a chemical, doesn't matter what. Then the dog starts to age rapidly, but it's at a point where if it continues, it'll die.
Right.
So he's got antidote to drug 1. So he's got drug 2, gives to the dog, but he's worried because drug 2 is very addictive.
But the dog shows no signs
But the
of
dog is
addiction.
fine. And based on that one time alone, he doesn't get another dog and see if the same thing happens.
It didn't get FDA approval.
No.
Is that what you're
No.
saying?
He goes straight from that, which could
To
be a
human
fluke,
testing.
to a baby.
because dogs and humans are so very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, we can eat a lot of the same vegetables I've
Yeah.
found. But
We're basically the same.
I mean, they have spleens too,
Yeah, they got all the organs.
and hearts, and stomachs.
Yeah.
I think they have livers.
But then when he attempts this with a human fetus, he arrests the aging again, the rapid aging that would be
With
deadly with this
methotrexate?
drug 2.
methotrexate.
Yeah. Drug 2. Let's just
Drug two.
Methotrexate.
Methotrexate. I got to remember that. It's gonna come in
But
handy
lo and
sometime.
behold,
Yeah.
eventually in the movie,
Methotrexate.
she begins to age again.
Yes.
Might have something to do with the fact that humans live a lot longer than
Yeah,
dogs.
it could be.
You know,
It could be.
Uh,
Yeah.
Sorry, the dog is the star of the movie.
Wait a minute. Why would the human age more quickly than the dog? Because the dog.
It didn't wear off with the dog.
Oh, okay, that's true.
Yeah, it didn't wear off with the dog, but it wore off with her, so she became a junkie.
Right. She needed more.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
She was chasing the methotrexate dragon.
Yes. And on that note, we are up to our first break, so
It's time for my next heroin injection.
Yes.
Or
Another hit of
whatever they call it.
Methotrexate.
Methotrexate.
Trexate.
Is that what you guys have been giving me?
What was the one from Fear and Loathing? Mercurochrome or whatever?
I call them groovy bears.
All right. Anyway, we will be back in about 1 second.
Just 1 second.
And we're back.
Hello.
And as you can see, we've skipped ahead a bit.
Yes.
You kind of have to with a movie like this. My God.
Well, Victoria is all grown up now.
She's all
and
grown
muy
up.
sexy.
Yeah, she's become Fatima Blush from
She's become-
Never Say Never
Is that
Again.
Timothy Dalton?
She's
No.
become
Oh,
Olivia Hussey.
No, she was
Sean
almost in a Bond movie.
No,
Yes.
seriously though, are she and Olivia Hussey from the same neighborhood? Because they both have the long black hair, the same kind of bone structure.
It was the
same,
70s.
The same inexplicable accent that it's like, where did it? Because Olivia Hussey's from Argentina, Barbara Carrera's from, you said Ecuador,
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua. I'm sorry, but they both have this strange accent where I learned it from a book, and it's like, what the fuck? What is this accent?
Well, I think it's an accent of somebody who was sent away to an expensive private school.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I would guess.
And so it's kind of an amalgam of different things.
I think it's a wealthy accent.
Oh, okay.
If I had to guess, and that's a flat out guess on my part, but
Okay.
that's kind of what I get. Or like went to elocution lessons, you know, and they taught how to sound, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Proper King's English.
Yeah,
He spoke.
yeah.
Yes.
Now, I know it sounds like I have an accent, but that's just because this is what words sound like when they're pronounced properly. Anyway.
Have you done this before? No, I read a book.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we've got to get back to the chess game. But here's where the movie missed a huge opportunity, I feel. So, you've got Victoria, and she runs into this group of kids because she finds out that she is aging rapidly, and she wants to put a stop to that, and she starts having these strange pains in her abdomen.
Shouldn't have gone to a Mexican restaurant, though. I mean, look at that. Diarrhea is like a storm raging inside.
Oh, man. Trying to cleanse herself in the
Don't
ocean.
drink the water in Nicaragua, woman.
Here, I have some Repso-Rismol. Thanks,
Number one to save the day.
Number one's the star of the damn movie.
It's
I'm
like,
sorry.
Number one,
She's a
don't pull
superhero.
too hard.
No. Number one, just do what
Just
feels
keep-
natural.
Keep pulling the dress.
God. No, but number one looks after Victoria from day one. Like, ever since Victoria starts wandering around Paul's house. So, for instance, Victoria is fascinated by his fish tank. She's never seen fish before, and she takes one
She's
of the
never
goldfish.
seen anything before.
I know, but
She's never seen shoes before.
She specifically grabs one of the fish out of the tank and like just plops it on a table and watches it kind of flap helplessly while it's dying. And then when Paul calls her, she's just like, "Oh, okay, never mind," and leaves it.
Yeah.
And number one is a smooth criminal when it comes to getting rid of bodies. I'm telling you, because the dog that she shakes and kills, she just places it in the bushes and hides it in
ivy.
the car. And then with the fish, she just throws it in the waste bin. No
Just
questions
drops it in
asked.
there. drops it in there. It'll start to smell after a while.
Well,
That's the
what you
problem.
didn't see was the part before the first scene of the movie when the Doberman Pinscher mother escaped from the Kennedy compound.
Oh no, it's the same compound where they were making the sharks smarter in Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah.
And turn the sharks into assholes as well as, smart animals.
It is amazing that the 70s could make so many colors so bland.
Yeah, especially when everything was just so vibrant back then. Like,
Well, burnt orange was very popular.
And brown,
yellow?
a lot of brown. And avocado green.
And shag carpet.
Oh, yeah, shag carpet.
They like to shag on the shag.
Well, yeah, that was the whole point.
well,
you
yeah,
know?
I mean, otherwise you're
Hard to
gonna
get stains out, though.
Oh, yeah.
Ew.
What? It
Oh,
is.
God.
It is, definitely.
No,
I'm
but-
just saying, it's a drawback.
But going back before we get into the really dark part of the movie is, I think the movie missed out on a huge opportunity because Victoria does go to a playground, and you think that you could have found a better motive for her to resent Paul because she starts to play. This one little girl just finds her and she's like, "Swing me on the swings, come on, push me on the swings." And then she starts playing with all the children, and there's the opportunity. She could have been like, "Oh, this is what Paul made me miss because he just turned me into an adult and robbed me of my adolescence." He
And my
tells her
virginity.
that.
Yeah.
Well, she asks him to do that.
Yeah.
And
It was
that-
consensual, even in the 70s. It was
To teach
important.
her.
after there was literally no segue. So he to sort of get her feet wet with socialization, Paul takes her to a party at a friend's house, and she beats the Bobby Fischer of this universe, Roddy McDowell, at chess. But actually, she doesn't beat him. She lets him win, which
which is
insults him
so
even
much
more.
worse. Yeah.
So much worse. Yes.
But at Rock Hudson's urging, because he sort of looks at her and taps his nose, and he's like, "No, don't do it. Don't beat him."
Let him win.
And so she defaults.
Yeah, because
game.
obviously, if any of us were at a party and a young girl beat a chess master, we would immediately assume that she had been created in a lab by a mad scientist.
Oh, 100%.
We don't
I mean,
want
that's
that,
just where,
yeah.
and I would call the police. and the
Women can't play chess. She's a witch.
Exactly, and the police would have gone, "Oh my God, we will be right over there."
Oh.
You know, yeah.
You got to get your head out of those books, because then you start getting ideas and thinking. But yeah.
So Victoria, who the fully grown up and va-va-voom Victoria.
Yes.
And there is full frontal.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we missed nipple.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, gang.
It's
but,
on. Look, it's public domain. It's on
Just
YouTube.
watch it at your convenience.
And why
Yeah.
is it on public domain, Jason? You were asking me that.
Yeah,
earlier.
exactly. What is the deal?
Yes, help us out here, Darth.
The reason why is because the copyright status, as of May 2014, Embryo is presumed to be in the public domain, since distributor Cine Artists Pictures had gone out of business before being able to renew its copyright on it.
Oh.
So nobody's renewed. Yeah, so there is no copyright.
It's a technicality.
Yeah, a lot of
As
those.
so many of these public
Yeah, a
domain
lot of
things are.
those. I mean,
I wish I could get Millie to carry in the groceries. My God, that would be so handy.
if I tried that with Sid, I mean, he might be able to carry like a bag of marshmallows.
Your dog approximately weighs the same as a bag of marshmallows.
He could carry in, a small bag.
Yeah, Watson could carry a decent bag. Millie could carry a human-sized bag.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
my dog actually learned an important life lesson a couple days ago.
Do tell.
I take I take a bunch of supplements, and one of them is black cumin oil,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Black
it's
beauties, they call them.
yeah, yeah,
In Mexico,
they're
do.
great, and I keep them in a like a organizer, like a pill organizer, and one day.
So you're old like me.
Oh yeah, I'm old. Yeah, no, I fully own up to that. But it fell, and one of the little compartments came open, and this one pill fell on the ground. And I picked up all the pills, and I thought, well, that's everything. Well, he got his hands on it because I guess he thought it was a treat.
He has
and it
hands? What have you been doing to
Yeah.
this dog?
and he has it's a gel cap, so he bit into it, and when he bit into it, it's literally just cumin,
Oh,
And it's-
okay.
Ooh.
And it-
Oh, no.
and he's mad at me,
Of course he is.
Well,
like
he's-
it's my fault.
And he's
you know.
white, so didn't it like saturate his little face? Like he's
No, it was in his mouth. It was all in his
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and he spit the
poor
thing out.
Sid.
Yeah.
Poor little fluff nugget. Because this is a dog, no kidding, Hindsighters, that you like. I could just bench press him.
I
with my
regularly,
hand.
I
He's
regularly
so
I
tiny.
carry him in
He's
one
very
hand.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
you gotta love him.
He's a cute little dude.
But so Victoria, she's a
like-
junkie now.
She's a junkie, and she's destroying all of those reel-to-reels. That's what we used to call them. Did you
Mhm.
know that, Darth?
Oh
Yeah.
no! What are
She
what are
pours
these?
acid on them, which destroys them immediately.
That would smell awful, wouldn't it?
Oof, yeah. And then
Could-
she
could-
torches all of his hard-won notes that he took, just burns them up. And then why did she do that?
Yeah, that's my question. Why does she care?
didn't want anyone. She didn't want him to be able to do this to anyone else. Even though
okay.
I'm pretty
is
sure
that what it is?
that's what I got. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure he could remember 2 drugs.
Yeah,
Like he made it up as he went along. He could just make it up as he goes along again.
This is true. But what's funny is that she destroys all of his work and then tries to reproduce the work. Like she tries to conduct the
Well,
experiment
she read
herself.
it.
She, yeah, that's true, and she's like Rain Man. She,
Yeah, so
she
she
has
knows-
a
yeah,
photographic
exactly,
memory.
yeah.
Because that was the reason why she beat Roddy McDowell at chess, because it says she soon gathers. Holliston educates Victoria. She soon gathers photographic, encyclopedic knowledge of science, literature, and culture.
Yes.
So she knows everything there is to know about everything, except what a goldfish is. Somehow she didn't run into that lesson with all the books that she had read.
He
She
didn't
just
cover that
decides
one.
to. Yeah, he didn't cover the
Well,
goldfish.
in this whole part of the movie, she knows that she has this debilitating, recurring, rapid aging.
Well,
and
but it doesn't seem like that to me, and maybe it's because I'm a
Okay.
girl, but like she's clutching her abdomen, and she's had sex with Paul, so you have to wonder if she's pregnant with his baby. Like, because she
That's
might be
probably
having
it, yeah.
she might be having some sort of pains or like possible miscarriage side effects. You don't know.
But she's taking the drug though. She's taking the drug that stops the aging.
That stops the aging, but that doesn't do anything. And here's a huge plot gap. So she's trying to recreate Paul's experiment with a fetus that's 5 to 6 months old,
Right,
with
right.
where the mother's dying. But what she sees in the notes, and you're reading it right now, Hindsighters, is that the doctor who made those notes noted that the fetus is already dead, and yet she's trying to conduct the same experiment on it and turn it into something like her. So she tries to perform a C-section on a hooker whose baby is already dead inside her. And it's important that the baby's alive when you conduct this experiment.
Yeah,
so where did that come from?
I agree with you. It doesn't really make any sense. She thinks that because a computer told her that the cure to her pains and woes is something that can only be extracted from a fetus,
I see.
but only of a particular, like between 5 and 6 months, or 4 and 6
range,
months,
right,
or whatever. Yeah.
Right, because thanks to a chance meeting with the manager of Teletex International Computer Systems at
Is
a
it
party, it says
Teletex or
Teletex instead of
Telex?
Telex.
Oh.
But yeah, thanks to a chance meeting of the Teletex guy, maybe they couldn't use the actual brand
Right,
for the
right.
movie. Who knows? She meets him at a party, and he's like clearly hitting on her, and it's so funny because she's like, "Oh, you're using a common slang word that means fornication." Like it's the most awkward conversation because he's trying to get her into
That's
bed,
right,
but, like,
baby. Want to bang?
No,
But
I want to
she-
hump you. I look
Yeah,
forward to
that's true, yeah.
humping. When was the last time you used that as a pickup line? It's just horrible.
Nice shoes. Want to hump?
Yeah. Hump.
Happy hump day, everyone.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she meets the Telex guy, and she asks the computer basically how to solve her rapid aging problem.
Yes.
And what does it tell her, Jason?
Well, you've got to extract, something from the pituitary gland of a fetus, but it has to be a particular age
Right.
fetus.
5 to 6 months.
5 to 6 months, yes.
And so she gets the hooker in there, and she's going to take what she needs from the prostitute, but of course the baby is
Something
baby's
goes
already dead.
terribly
Already dead.
wrong.
Now, the baby was already dead.
the baby's already
That
dead.
was noted in
Yeah.
the doctor's notes.
Yeah, she skimmed past that part.
So then Alf's mom shows up.
Yeah, and it's almost like she goes, "Hey, didn't you get pregnant about 5 months ago?"
No, they make such an obvious moment of it. That's what I was saying. So Alf's mom
Ding!
is sipping sherry. They're all together at Paul's house, and Victoria's like, "Exactly how many months pregnant are you?" And she was like, "Oh, to my reckoning, 5 months, 12 days, and 16 hours." Like, it's just like, okay,
Somewhere
calm
between
down.
5 to 6 months. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why do you ask?
And so Victoria has already tried and failed a
Victoria's
C-section.
like picking up. She's got a meat cleaver.
Yes, and it's so freaking ridiculous
Come
because
to slice the steak?
and what's really ridiculous is that when Victoria hires the hooker, first of all, the one with the dead baby inside her, she's like
Yeah,
$200 and no rough stuff, and Victoria's like, "I understand," and she goes, "I don't think you do."
Yeah, there is so much to unpack in that scene.
There really is, and
There was a whole 20-minute
Yeah,
scene there that
yeah.
they cut out. It just
It's
was
like-
inappropriate.
Well, there was a lot that the movie needed, like the animosity between Victoria and
Martha.
and Martha, Paul's sister-in-law.
And the only animosity that Victoria really even experiences from Martha, because Martha has nothing but contention for Victoria. She knows that there's something wrong about her. She doesn't know exactly what, because Paul completely shuts her out of the experiment after the dogs. And so, but Martha knows that something's up, and because he's been trying to pass Victoria off as a research assistant from the University
right.
of Colorado. And Martha's like, "I looked her up, and she's never existed.
I
in
looked her up on the
Colorado since-"
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
yeah.
did you find out that information?
Hello,
From the telex.
University of Colorado. Do you know Victoria? No.
Oh my
My
God.
God.
But she finds out that Paul was lying about Victoria being the research assistant. So Victoria shoots up.
Or there was a
Martha.
clerical error.
Yeah. Victoria shoots Martha up with the methotrexate because Martha is putting her foot down and saying, "I won't live another day in this house. I'm going back to Minneapolis or whatever." And she gets on a plane, and after, Victoria doses her, Martha has a heart attack and dies on the plane.
Yeah.
So Paul puts 2 and 2 together And it was like, well, okay. He goes to see the coroner, and it turns out that, there was foul play involved.
Right,
It
yeah.
wasn't just a heart attack, Paul. And he's
There's
like,
forms to fill out.
yeah. Oh my
Now
God.
she's taking the woman in for the surgery.
Gordon's wife. So
Paul is in Seattle on
Yeah.
a payphone.
I know.
And he gets there. He lands the plane, and he's there 5 minutes later. How does that happen?
same magic as Steve McQueen getting from Poland to Switzerland in 15 minutes.
It was
in,
an express.
The Great
okay.
Escape.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah,
thing.
all right.
Give
And
me a ticket on an airplane.
It would have taken longer for him to go from the gate to find his car in the parking lot. And he had time to pick up his son.
Ain't got time to take a fast
Well,
train.
they didn't have TSA back then, so he was
That's
able to
true,
get
yeah,
through security
yeah.
real fast.
Security.
It's true love. Oh, in that case, go right on in.
Yeah, and this is where it gets even weirder and more dismal. So
Oh, it gets
Victoria-
so dismal.
But the music is atrocious,
It's
though.
spiral. Oh
It
yeah,
killed me just listening.
Yeah.
it spirals so quickly. So Paul puts two and two together. He's like, oh well, she could I didn't dose her. I guess the only person I know who could have dosed Martha is. That's
Dun,
gotta be
dun,
Victoria.
dun.
Uh-oh. And so he calls his son, and he's like, hey, let's meet at my house. Something's going on. And they run down to his lab, and they find the dead hooker.
They just run past her.
No, they don't. They
they
call
don't?
they call an ambulance.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Get
I
down
thought-
there, quick.
Yeah, yeah.
They call an ambulance to his home, and then they just walk over her to get up to the lab.
Yeah, they don't call the ambulance, and he doesn't call the ambulance until after his son is stabbed.
That's
No,
what-
he's calling the ambulance.
Oh, he does
right
do it now?
Yeah.
Oh,
There it
that's
is,
right.
okay.
That's right. When his son is stabbed, that's when the ambulance Snyder shows up
Arrives.
again.
Snyder.
We
I'm
need
here to
another
fix
one.
the plumbing.
From one day at a
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
right?
Well, because she stabs him with a hypodermic needle, but it looks like
It
she
turns into a
stabbed
knife.
him with a knife.
Yeah, it turns
exactly.
into a huge knife.
It does somehow.
Wait, was it? See, okay, I want to see that part again because I thought it was a hypodermic needle.
I did
but,
too, loaded with methotrexate.
But wasn't she about to cut the cord?
She was about to cut the life support cord.
So maybe it was whatever she was about to cut the cord
Well,
with.
They were
let's
like
watch it.
scissors.
Oh, well,
or
here we go.
something.
Yeah, it's
so
coming
yeah,
up right
here
now.
we go. So number one has taken to protecting Victoria above all. Like she doesn't even obey.
He's
Rock
not very
Hudson
good
anymore.
at it though.
No. She. Number one is a she. But
Yeah,
anyway,
that's right.
So
I keep
we
thinking
gals gotta
Cap-
stick
I-
together.
I know. I keep wanting to make Riker jokes from Star Trek, and so that's why I keep saying he.
Make a show.
Anyway, so Victoria has extracted Gordon's wife's baby from her uterus.
The
and-
baby's dead. It's sunk to the bottom. Now we know from the beginning of the movie
It's
that
not a
when you go to the
Doberman.
bottom,
It's not a Doberman, so not necessarily. But we do know the baby dies when the
oh god,
when the tank crashes and,
and the baby goes rolling out.
And see, I've got to ask you,
so
gentlemen,
horrible.
if I know this is an incredibly shocking situation, but if your significant other was laying on the table and you were in the room, would you really be that stock still and just be like, okay, this is strange?
Well-
I'd like to think that Josh would go into action a lot faster than her husband.
I definitely.
It depends on how long you were married, first of all.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's true.
God,
You know?
Adam!
Wait, look, there's the hypo. Oh, he's gonna hit her with the hypo.
Yeah.
Yes, he's gonna hit her with
Okay.
the Mexitrex,
And he's got a good aim.
Methotrexate.
And he goes straight boom. You know?
Yeah, he gets. I
It's
mean,
not his first rodeo.
What do you think really happened to his first wife?
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, okay, so she's decided that she's going to be. She wants to cure herself.
Yes. And
She
she needs to do that with the pituitary gland of a fetus.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
yeah.
she extracts what, I mean, if Rock Hudson had proposed, what would be her step grandbaby? I guess.
that'd be a weird family tree.
Yes.
I
it
had
would
to
be.
avert my gaze from many of these.
Well,
Oh, you're right. So she does have a pair of scissors because that's the reason why the men aren't they're not attacking her is
Ah.
because she's got the scissors across the life support line. So maybe it was scissors that she got him with, but he has the world's largest syringe.
I know. It's-
And is it the placental lactogen that he's going to get her with?
Yes.
Because he's
Yes.
yeah, because it's not. He tells her it's the methotrexate, but he's like, okay, I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you a bigger dose of it so that you stop aging because she's middle aged at this point.
Yeah.
But he's tricking her.
Yeah,
It's a
he's-
ruse, you big dumb
he's,
idiot.
he's got the big old Sid Vicious sized, syringe. And he's
Hey, if you inject it between your toes, you'll still be okay.
oh,
Too soon?
this is
a
gross.
little. But here's the thing about the movie that astonishes me.
Oh, there it is.
No, see, it's
Stuck
It
him with
is
a
the
knife.
syringe. You're right.
it is. Yeah, she stabs Gordon with.
But
the
then it
syringe.
turns into a knife.
He crashes.
Oh no! Wait. Okay.
No, I thought she hit him with a knife. We're
No,
not rewinding
it's
it.
definitely a syringe.
Okay,
Good
it's a
thing she's
syringe.
wearing a pantsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a syringe. But yeah, so now both the wife, the baby, and Gordon are all like
Everyone's
Rock Hudson,
dead.
Everybody's dead.
Yeah,
Do you think the
everyone's
wife died?
I think so.
She was moving.
Well,
And
they
he's
call
dead.
they call the ambulance, so we
Yeah.
don't know. We also don't know what happened to number one. And
Number
I
one
like
is
I like
downstairs. So, yeah, we
I like to
never-
imagine that number one, escaped to Argentina. And he's like on a beach somewhere.
She turned into one of the boys from Brazil.
He's got sunglasses and a hat on.
Well, there was a series of movies back in
no,
the 70s.
she's in Belize. The hat says unbelievable.
Called the Magnificent Dobermans. I don't know if you remember that. They were Doberman pinchers that would rob banks and stuff. And I'm thinking number one might have been the ringleader.
All right, maybe this
Yeah.
is the origin story.
I'm thinking it is. Yeah.
Wow.
Don't
You-
tell Marvel, we'll get a whole thing.
Oh my God.
And so this is the last time we see Snyder, unfortunately.
And that would
Yeah.
be a 1974 Z28.
It's a Bandit car.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something that just astonished me that
Well, and this
they
is,
felt they needed a car chase.
Well, and it's ironic because Nicole, Rock Hudson's wife, died in a car crash, and then he's the one who's trying to run Victoria off the
Yeah.
road in another car crash, and then she turns into an 80-year-old woman in approximately 30 seconds.
Yeah, but she can still drive.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she can drive like that out of hell.
I read Hal Needham's autobiography.
That's awesome.
Well done, sir. Well done.
I like it. Well done. You won the episode.
Yes.
She probably had the, little not Rock Hudson set, the little Hal Needham set, the
The
little
Rock
kit,
Hudson set.
the little action figure kit. That
Oh,
Hal
yeah, the
Needham
stuntman.
She
That'd
would,
be
just be
awesome.
playing with him in the lab. But yeah, so Rock Hudson's trying to run her off the road. She's rapidly aging, and her fingernails are somehow. She's
So
turning-
what is her end game?
You don't know.
I don't know. This is where it
Because-
gets confusing.
Well, this is where I'm confused because ultimately you find out she's been convulsing, and you wonder if it's because of the withdrawal from the methotrexate, but actually she's pregnant with Paul's baby all this time, and so you don't know really what was causing the abdominal pains, whether it was the withdrawal, the pregnancy, a combination of both, whatever. And because Rock Hudson does run her off the road into a public park and then tries to drag her toward the pond and drown her.
Yeah.
But at this point, half the city's after them, and the police come and pull him off of her. And
The
they save
optics
her.
were not good. in
No,
this one.
no,
Die!
no.
Die!
You're gonna need a really good publicist to clean this one up, Rock.
Yeah. I think you're gonna get in trouble. I don't think you're gonna be allowed to practice medicine anymore. They're gonna take your lab away, for sure.
So she gets out of the car. She goes to the water. He starts trying to drown her.
This is the first car in the 70s in the movies ever, in the history of the ever, that didn't explode once it caught fire.
That's right. It just smoldered. Yeah. But the Ghostbusters show up.
Yeah.
They
You got a
show
man
they show up
drowning a
after.
woman.
Yeah, Adam 12 shows up.
You got a
Yeah.
man drowning a woman in a pond. I don't think the hard stuff's coming down for quite a while.
And a fire truck from 1936.
A doctor trying to
That-
drown
they're
an
that
80-year-old
quickly.
woman. Mass hysteria.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the police pull Rock Hudson off of her, and they're like, this woman's convulsing, and they think she's having like a heart attack or something's wrong with her. And they're like, no, she's having a baby. And Rock
And
Hudson.
he knows that immediately. He just feels her
Yeah.
and knows she's pregnant.
Well, I mean, you can see her kind of the bulge of her tummy. And
Yeah, but
it's-
she's
Call it a
80.
bump.
You would think the guy at 80.
It's more likely to be a tumor. Than
He
a
would
baby.
just rule out, like, well, obviously she's not pregnant. I mean, geez, she's 80 years old.
Yeah, that would be. a
Unless she's
natural
from the
assumption.
villages.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Oh my.
No,
Well,
no. Don't shine the light on
No.
me.
She looks like Emperor Palpatine at this point. Good.
And the cop looks almost as old as her.
Good. But so she has Rock Hudson's baby, and he's trying to make sure that they both
They're the
die
Ghostbusters.
because he just assumes that
But he didn't know she was pregnant.
he didn't know she was pregnant. He knows toward the end because they yell it out loud. They're like, "Oh,
It's
this woman's
yours,
having a
Paul."
baby."
But she says,
Yeah,
it's
that's right.
yours, Paul.
Yeah.
It's yours.
No shit. Whose else would it be?
I mean, I've been keeping you under lock and key in my house unless you had sex with a telex guy when I wasn't looking.
Well, yes, I did. I read a book by Hugh Hefner.
Yeah. God.
I read the Kama Sutra.
And then it fades away. We get two great cliches at the end. We get the character screaming no.
He's like, what? He's like, I want both of you
Li-
dead.
yeah,
Like,
literally,
you
no.
both should die. Because I guess
and then it goes to black, and we hear a baby crying.
yeah, you hear the smack because isn't that what he does when Victoria's born? I guess like he smacks her to get her to start.
That's what I
breathing,
assumed.
and so
To me,
it's full circle.
to me,
Technically.
it didn't sound like that. It sounded like a cigarette lighter closing, and I was like, was the baby lighting up?
Well, it's a boy's cigars.
Ah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Well, you know, when a baby's born, what they used to do, they crack it on the bottom.
That's what
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. He
Yeah, yeah.
smacked
No,
her to get her to
that's what-
breathe to make
that's
sure
what-
that
yes.
their airways are clear. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Special effects by Roy Arbogast.
Special effects by
I'll do any
Tom.
special effects for $29.95.
Especially if I get to have sex with that hooker from earlier in the movie.
And there was a doctor who was actually a technical advisor.
Now
Yeah,
this,
she
I
was,
guarantee, this was not a feature film in the movie theater. I mean, look at,
It
look
can't
at,
be.
look at the-
It's
look at the
TV.
credits.
I know. It's absolutely, it looks TV, but it's not in 4:3.
Oh.
And in '77, if
I
it was on
think it
TV, it would have
was-
been 4:3.
I think it was
That's-
Dr. Joyce Brothers as Dr. Joyce Brothers,
Yes.
yeah.
She was
Yeah,
in
but
it.
there was another doctor.
Oh, was
who
there?
Yeah.
who helped fill in all the science-y stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Because God knows we need
Hey,
help
can
with
I get
that.
my name in the movie
That'd
if
be
I tell
super.
you something? A Plura Service Company.
Syringe? Ah, but yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, everybody dies.
Everybody
And,
dies.
except for Rock Hudson, and presumably, I mean, you assume that Victoria's going to die because, I mean, she's rapidly
she's-
deteriorating.
she's toast.
Call her Wonder Bread because she is toast.
Mhm.
But so now Rock Hudson, he can't be stuck with the baby. He's presumably going to prison for the rest of his life for these horrific
But
experiments.
is he? Is he going?
Maybe number one absconds with the baby to
raises
South
the
America.
baby.
Raises the baby.
Yes.
Oh, boys from Brazil. That's it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's how it started.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Alf to Seinfeld's going to be a little difficult for you two because I'm assuming this is the first time you've ever seen this
It's a
train
straight
wreck.
vibe, but
I
I'm gonna
saw
get,
it on TV.
Oh,
when I
really?
was a young
Okay.
teenager. Yeah.
I don't have a clue what I'm going to rate it because it was kind of meh. I mean, I guess it's a 5 for me because it was a meh. I guess it's a 6 now because when I saw it, there was no nudity. And
Well,
this
that's
had
the thing.
this had boobs, so that's up a point. I appreciate the movie more.
I did too. I would have raised it up, but I remember watching
you
it
guys
and
like
being.
movies with boobs?
Yes, we do. Of course, we're men. Come on,
Like Jethro Bodine.
straight men, unlike Rock Pyle.
Uh-huh.
But I remember when I saw it, I thought it was kind of disturbing. But when I watched it last night, or 2 nights ago, it was very, very disturbing.
Off-putting.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was just like, why?
Cringeworthy.
Why did they make this film? I don't
Yeah.
remember thinking that as a kid. I was young, I was immature, so I'm going to drop it for one of the first times
Okay.
ever. I enjoyed learning more about it, but that was overridden by the disturbing nature of this film. So I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay.
See, I think I would have understood it.
I would have given it a
Better-
2 if the mother for Alf was not in the film.
Yeah.
I bumped it up to a
Number
3.
1 saved it too. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, number one, star of the movie. She is number one all day.
Oddly enough, went on to play the lead in Hardcastle and McCormick.
She was actually the animation model for the Dobermans and Oliver and Company.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so she's famous all over the place. Number one is just awesome.
So our
Now-
apologies.
Well, I have to give it a straight 5, obviously, since I'd never heard of this movie before you recommended it. But I'd like to give it an honorary 3 because, my God, like it would make more sense to me if I saw that the director was like David Cronenberg, and then it was, especially if the movie was even more disturbing as a result.
Yeah, you're
Because
right.
this movie, it's like it tried to ride a line where Holliston was supposed to be the protagonist, but he's the he's the protagonist because he gets changed, but we don't see the results of it, so we're not even sure if he is the protagonist.
I don't know.
Or maybe Victoria's the protagonist because she's the one who changes literally.
Yeah.
Who knows? Like, there's not a lot of
There's
structure
no
to it.
like hero's journey in this. I mean,
No,
there's
no
nothing
arc.
like
There's no like lessons learned. You end up. It's kind of like Black
It's a slice
Christmas.
of life.
Yeah, it's like Black Christmas. You end up on a question mark note because, Rock Hudson wanted the baby dead because he's making the assumption that the baby's going to be evil, just like the mother was, because he somehow figures out, and you never show how he pieces it together. Like, there's no even like lazy evidence that he knows that Victoria injected his sister-in-law, and like, and let's get back to the sister-in-law.
Well, she did kill his daughter-in-law and grandson.
Yeah, but she killed Martha before he knew about any of that.
Yeah, but as far as like his antipathy towards her, I mean, you know, he was justified in wanting to kill her.
Yo, by the end,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, but with the baby, he doesn't
There's
know that
nothing with
it's-
the baby. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to assume
Yeah.
the baby's going to be evil or anything like that, especially since it was born. It was born technically naturally because they had sex and she had a baby
Yeah.
because of it. It's not as though he did an experiment on it.
There's no indication that the baby's going to be anything but just a normal baby.
Nurture versus nature, Rock Hudson. My God. Anyway, but yeah. I don't know. I thought there was kind of a creepy dynamic between Martha and Rock Hudson where she was, especially once Victoria got a little bit older, because you hear her say specifically, oh, yeah, she's 25 and she's your research assistant. Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm not staying in here. This is weird. It's creeping me out. I don't like it. And she's obviously, she's not in the records of the Colorado University, so I'm leaving. And so I think Victoria acts out of fear more so than violence or hatred when it comes to killing Martha, because she doesn't want to be discovered, because Rock Hudson does warn her in the beginning, because she's like, what would happen to me if other people knew what I was? And he's like, you'd be a freak. Yeah, they'd keep you under glass and they'd study you forever.
And that played in her head a few times.
Yeah,
throughout the
exactly.
film, yeah.
So
Yeah, but the
that
thing
was,
is,
that was kind of her driving force.
But it's not true, though. That's so stupid. She's a human being. She's living in presumably, there's laws, and it's not like there's anything written that if you happen to be the product of a rapid acceleration, you don't have civil rights. I mean, they couldn't.
Yes, counselor.
No, I'm just saying it's
in
like
1976, though. Come on.
I don't think that they. I don't know. I mean, she's obviously intelligent enough to hold down a job.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing about her would have been like, okay, no, this is amazing. It's incredible. Well, yes, would you allow us to study you? But
Yeah.
anyway,
We're thinking
But
too
yeah,
much.
but she had all of her eggs in the trust basket was with Paul. So when he tells her something is as good as gold,
that's true.
So when he says like, "Oh, you'd be held under glass and studied like a freak," that played over and over,
Yeah.
like the record that he played her when
So
she
she'll
was,
commit murder.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, Paul's really the one who killed Martha.
Oh,
if you
you
think
is a
about it.
werewolf.
I mean, maybe Paul wanted Martha bumped off because he was trying to spur
This is all
spurn
part
her
of his-
advances.
What if
part
the
of the embryo cinematic universe?
What if the whole time, number one was secretly manipulating everybody? What if it was just a chess game?
I
And
want
number
that
one,
movie.
like at the end, you're going to see number one walking out with a limp, and then the limp starts to get better, and he just starts walking away.
And he's got all the little models of Victoria and Holstein and Gordon and everybody, and it's on this chessboard, and the dog's just like, checkmate.
Checkmate.
And
Yes.
Roddy McDowell is sitting across the table going,
Bravo. Bravo. Slow clap.
Finally, a worthy opponent.
yes.
Oh my God, we could make this movie
There's your
much more
movie.
There's your
interesting
movie.
right there. Oh,
God.
Well, on that note,
Yeah.
we are very, very glad to be back.
yes.
And-
Just one last thing before you sign off. You got to tell us what made you pick this movie, Jason.
Well, we were talking about it a few weeks ago, and whenever I was looking through, and I can't remember why we were talking about it, but
I don't
we even
either.
looked at the trailer.
But you said, I found Embryo, and I'm like, oh, I remember seeing that movie. And you said,
I
let's
was-
do it.
I was just
Yeah.
like, I used to be one of those.
It
So,
was,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, and I found out it was in the public domain, so I was like, well, hey.
so you got to watch this creeptacular bullshit along with us,
Yes.
Hindsighters, as a
But I
result.
like the public domain. It makes it so much more interesting.
Oh, it's so much, yeah, it's so much more
You can
interesting.
play the film, and we can commentate on it.
All right, Darth, take us home.
Yeah, take us home.
Well, Hindsighters, it's been a hell of a ride. Thank you for joining us. We do apologize for the break. Darth has been out a bit sick, as Ironsides, as Mr. Brown so affectionately dubbed her. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I am back and better than ever. So welcome back for your drive time, your listening time. You're running your embryo genetic experiment off the road time. Your Doberman time, your Martha time. We don't care what kind of time. Welcome back. This has been Darth, Adam, and Jason with Hindsight, and good night.